today. We are in part 2 of this series called The Greatness Principle. And I want to welcome those of you that are new to Crosspoint. My name is Brian. I'm the lead pastor here. And when you hear the word lead pastor, it's like a contemporary, basically word for senior pastor. And yep, I'm in charge. I'm in charge of our vision. I'm in charge of the preaching schedule. We have a staff with our preschool of 25 plus people, with the preschool and the church side, and I'm responsible along with our board for what some would consider a decent sized budget of $2.4 million. That is my title. Those are my responsibilities. But I want to be very clear about something. None of that makes me great. None of that makes me great. We're in week 2 of this series called The Greatness Principle. And I just want to pose a question to you right now, and I want you to process this. I want you to kind of think through this. And the question is this: what is it about you that you think makes you great? What is it about you that you think makes you great? Is it like the car you drive? Is it your job? Is it the size of your bank account? For some of you say, no, that's not it at all. Well, what is it that makes you great? Is it your title? Is it your education? What is it that makes you great? I love the story of the dad who had this little boy. And I love the story probably because I got a little 5-year-old son and I can relate with this. And this little boy, he came up to his dad and he said, "Dad, how tall am I?" Your kids ever do that? Grandkids ever do that? Any of you ever have those measuring sticks, okay, you know, or you mark it on the wall and you want them to see that they're growing, they're getting bigger, and this little boy says, "Dad, how tall am I?" And so the dad measures him and he says, "You're about 4 feet tall, son. You're 4 feet. And the little boy gets this big smile on his face and he goes back in the room and he starts playing with his toys and he comes back in and he says, "Dad, how tall was Jesus?" Now, the dad, he knew the Bible, but he's like, Jesus, you know, it doesn't give Jesus height like in the Bible. And Jesus was, you know, he was a Jew. He was probably, so he looks at his son and says, "He's probably 6 feet tall." Little boy said, "Okay." He goes back in his room, starts playing. Then he comes back in and he says, "Dad, I have a question." He says, "If I'm 4 feet tall and Jesus is 6 feet tall and he lives inside of me, he's going to stick out." And that's exactly what Paul is saying. He's saying that if you're going to gain Christ, and if you're going to become one with Jesus, that he is going to stick out of your life. And if there's anything else that's sticking out of your life that you think makes you great, Paul says, hey, listen, you think that makes you great? It's garbage. He says the one thing that makes you great is the great one that you serve. It's Jesus. And God has given you enough time to do everything that he wants you to do within his plan. And if you're consistently stressed out and burned out and tired, you're not in God's will. You're playing the role of God and you're playing the role of Superman. Have you ever missed opportunities? Man, I know I have. As a matter of fact, I've missed way more opportunities than seized opportunities. We all miss opportunities. Maybe you had an opportunity to have a conversation or a sale, and you missed the opportunity. Or maybe you missed the opportunity to actually say a word. You know, you were in a conversation, timing was right, you knew you should have said something, but you missed the opportunity. Sarcasm. I'm not good at sarcasm, and our staff's sarcastic, and every now and then they'll like say something, and I'm lying in bed at night, and I'm like, oh, that would have been a great comeback. I should have said. Maybe you missed an opportunity to do ministry in Jesus' name. Maybe you walked past somebody God wanted you to pray with, or he wanted you to encourage. Maybe you missed an opportunity to reach out and give towards something. Maybe you missed an opportunity to go on a trip. We've got to seize opportunities as God leads us along the way. Proverbs 3 says this: "Do not withhold good from those who deserve it." Some of you are withholding good right now just because you maximize your calendar. It says don't withhold from those who deserve it when it's in your power to help them. If you can help your neighbor now, don't say come back tomorrow and then I'll help you. Seize the opportunity. Some of you don't volunteer here because you think that they're earning the opportunities for you. We have opportunities at every level. Greeters, parking, students, vocalists, sound. That was for you. I talked to him about that before the services. Ministry being left undone. And guess what's happening? You're not blessing other people. And God's not blessing you through it. Every week, people come into this church with trouble and tension and transition. And at Glossers, they feed them a donut. And Karen, she welcomes them at the door. And Gina and Tina check them in down at Kid Point. And Melissa puts the lyric on the screen so we can not only hear it, but we can also see it. And God uses all of that to lead people to find and follow Jesus. But we got to seize opportunity.